excess reserves to that. Or
You just spent some of that.
Well, we don't have to, and that's the whole purpose of budgeting is to stay within our budget. So
Okay.
rather than bend it beyond what we can afford, let's take something off. That's the whole point of budgeting, right?
So when we bring you a draft budget, you'll have an opportunity to take a look and see if there are items you want to take off the list.
But I'm just saying, why don't we take them off now, so we don't have to go back later and say, well, maybe it's okay to spend $20,000 more than we have this time.
It looks like
Well,
if we...
there's other things we can do too, Larry. We can, Cheryl and I have had discussions about the IT situation, and I think that we can potentially do something with that $105,000 number. I think that might be a little high. There's definitely I think some opportunities through competitive bids, through phased approach with regard to implementation of infrastructure to get that number down.
But aren't you a proponent, Steve, of living within your means? Why would you ever spend $20,000 more than you had in your family?
Well, remember, you're not spending $20,000 more than you have because each of you had $250,000. So you didn't spend the entire $250,000. So you're not out of your means yet. If everyone had spent the entire $250,000, I would say, okay.
But I guess if I'd known that my $20,000 wasn't really going to not get used by somebody else, I would have spent it.
Okay, how would you like to spend it?
Well, I don't want to spend it. I want to keep my $20,000. I don't want everybody else to live within those confines and those constraints of the budget.
From my perspective, I'm fine with this approach. So,
okay.
Maybe we need to reach some consensus and move on.
All right. In closing, results matter. So budgeting for success with strategic initiatives is really the focus of the budget message for fiscal year 2013-14. Thank you for your staff direction, and thank you for your leadership. I think that this will actually position the city to develop in a budget and a plan for long-term financial sustainability.
Thank you, Cheryl. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Discussion item number 3 is going to be discussing
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I'm sorry. We do have some items that we'd like for you to get the brown bags in front with the money on it. Since we didn't give Councilman Fodovich his money back, we do have something else we'd like to leave as a parting part of this exercise for those smart decisions. Payday for the residents of Gardner. Smarties and paydays for your smart decisions.
You have your own bag.
Well, here's $20,000.
In front of each one of the computers.
Yeah.
This is exactly what happens when you have too much money. You spend $20,000 on a $2 bag of candy. Thank you.
I'll keep this and dig in my wallet for the candy. So
Exactly.
Thank you.
We spent all of ours, Heath and I. Do we still get our goodie bags?
Yes,
Okay.
in front of you. You can still get those too.
Okay.
All right.
For those smart decisions.
Well, thank you. Discussion item number 3, we're going to discuss a possible agreement with the Southwest Johnson County Economic Development Corporation for economic development services. This is continued from the May 20th work session. Mike?
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if I need to make a presentation on this. All I can say is that we did discuss this at a work session previously. It was also on the agenda as an action item. It was taken off the agenda as an action item because it was the EDC board met earlier that week, and we're not comfortable with the way the agreement was drafted. At the same time, I'm not sure We were entirely comfortable with the way it was drafted, we being the city council and the city administrator. And so, at this point, at issue are, as far as the board, the SJCED's board's concerned, are paragraphs 3, compensation, 4, term, 5, renewal. What we should also point out is in the previous contract, from staff's point of view, the contract held the EDC a bit more accountable than this draft contract does. And the CAF, Council Action Form, includes both of those, or the paragraph from each of those contracts for comparison. And that concludes my remarks, unless you have any questions. I believe Mr. Reeder's here, and some members of the SJCED board as well.
Cheryl, I have a question.
Sure.
This is all new, since I'm new to this. So since the workshop that we just had, number 2, I mean, it wasn't rated high enough to move forward, so what does this mean for this? I mean,
Well, there's two pieces to it,
Well-
because it was financed in the 2013 budget,
That is-
and the terms of this agreement are only for the remainder of 2013, the
Okay.
payments that we have already essentially committed to by passing last year's budget. That is consideration for 2014, the way I understand it, but separate issues.
That is correct.
okay,
Because what you have in the budget, this current budget, you have $25,000 for EDC activities.
and we haven't paid any money?
That is correct.
Okay.
So Councilman Freeman is correct.
Not exactly, what is it, I guess, what questions are we looking for, or what direction are we looking for with this? Is this how we want to present the contract? Are we looking for feedback on the contract, the funds? What is it that we want to accomplish this evening with the work session?
I was anticipating that we were going to be able to look and compare this contract with contracts from the Air Center in Edgerton to make sure that we weren't being unrealistic in our expectations and our agreement. Does anybody,
And I think staff's reviewed those contracts.
yeah,
Oh, that'd be great.
thanks, Mike.
I apologize. We did not include both copies of the contract in the packet. However, I can summarize what we did with the contracts. We really took the contract and we added more performance standards, I guess you would say, to try to, at the end of the term, try to have some results relative to the work plan, the work program that the EDC has adopted. And so we added language. Let me go to paragraph 3. So if you look at paragraph 3, in the previous contract, it didn't require that we have a written report to the community development director at the end of each month. And this contract does. It allows a little closer tracking of the work of the EDC. If you look at the compensation, what we proposed, some of the feedback we got was that we wanted to make sure that there was some performance. So in paragraph 3, compensation, the way we drafted this was that we pay, the total contract's for $25,000, but we pay $12,500 up front, and then at the end of 6 months, we evaluate where the progress of the EDC toward the work program, and the city has the opportunity to renew the contract for another 6-month term for a total of 25. The other thing about this contract is it doesn't go back to January 1st, 2013, it became